So what we're going to do today is we're going to polish up this acrylic window on the van, just to give you a bit of an idea on how easy it is. Pretty much anyone can do it. It's not a technically difficult sport. I don't know whether you can see too much in the way of scratches on my window. I had some pretty good gouges in the other window, but I've already polished them up, so it's a bit hard to get a before and after shot here. But anyway, we'll show you what the technique is, and it certainly does work. Some of the photos on the page will give you an indication of what they were before and what they became afterwards. So the tools we're going to need is just a clean rag, a can of Brasso or Silvo, whichever you want to use. The Brasso is slightly more aggressive than the Silvo. Buy it in the supermarket, it's pretty cheap. One spray bottle, water, just clear water, and a polisher of some description. This is a 7-inch Makita polisher with a 2-inch foam pad on there. Nothing too technical about that. And so this has got, I use it on 4, which according to the Makita scale is somewhere around about the 2000 RPM. So it's a fair amount of speed, and it might, in the initial stages, might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's ripping along. But yeah, no, it works fine. So what we do is shove the pad into a bucket of water. Usually put it in the sink, but can't film and do that at the same time, so we chucked it over here. Took it off the machine, which you don't normally have to do. Squeeze a little bit of the water out of it, because you only want it damp. You don't want it to be too wet. So then what we'll do is we'll whack it back on there. We'll look at it, spin her on. And then what we'll do is we'll spin that excess water off, just by spinning it, turn it on. Alright, so now that's just damp, and now it's ready to go. So what we'll do now is we'll put that Brasso on neat. There's no moisture on that window at all. We'll stick it on neat, and we'll see how we go. So use a bit on there, don't be shy, it's cheap. Make sure you cover everything up and give it a good dose. I've got a rag hanging underneath the van there, simply because I don't want to take the van outside and have to wash it afterwards. So we're just going to do the middle section here. So put plenty on. Make sure it's nicely covered. Work it around. You don't have to polish it in too much because the buff's going to do that for us. I want to work where we don't have to. Can do this by hand, but the amount of pressure that you've got to put on, and the amount of the speed, or the amount of buffing that's required to get a result, to be perfectly honest with you, it's just impossible. Unless you've got arms like Popeye, you're going to be struggling. So there's plenty on there. Alright, that's pretty much it for that. Lots on there. So now all we're going to do now is we're going to put the buff straight on it with no moisture at all. We're going to run it over left to right, right to left. We're going to overlap as we go down, like that. There's a bit of moisture in the pad still. Then we're going to go up and down, and then we're going to stop and go on to the next stage. So now what I do is just mist it, not wet it, just misting. You don't want it too wet because you want to still work it a little bit. Then we'll go up and down. One pass, right from one side to the other, missed it again. Now I want the water to be running off. When you missed it, you just want to, see here's probably a little bit too much, there's quite nice. Now you can see how much pressure I'm putting on there because you can see the pad push in when I'm polishing. That's a bit of an indication on how much pressure you want to be putting on. So we missed it again. A little bit too much water there. Although we're running out of polish now, so it's going to just start running off regardless of what we do. Another one the other way. Keep the water up to it now. Mix her up again. Get to the stage now where it doesn't really matter how much water you're putting on it. The buff's picked up a fair bit of moisture itself. One more will do it, I think. So we've done polishing now we've just got to wash it off. And you can see on that, there that there's a bit of a couple of scratches through the middle here that we haven't picked up. A couple of light scratches through the middle. There's no swirling in there whatsoever. And I've missed a couple of scratches, but what you do in relation to that is you do the put the brasso on, go over it, give it a one pass, then give it another coat of brasso neat, then give it another pass, and maybe a third coat before you start misting it with the water, and it'll pick up all those scratches and take them out. And that's pretty much it. You're done.